All right, Sean Bormet, 5 questions. We're coming off a split weekend in the Big Ten. Really good win against Northwestern on Friday night. A good one. Our first loss, though, against Ohio State Sunday. Got a couple top 10 wins in that duel. First, can you touch on that Northwestern duel a little bit?
Yeah, Northwestern, I thought great duel. We won 9 matches out of the 10. Had bonus points in a lot. Had 2 pins. I just felt like we sort of were aggressive from whistle to whistle, all 3 positions. I like the trend I'm seeing of our riding and turning, in the effort to ride on top. I thought that was pretty evident in the Northwestern match. Also, I think a lot of the some of the key tougher moments that decide those matches and decide some of the points in the closer matches. I thought our guys did a really good job staying locked in. So energy was great. I thought it was a great duel overall.
I kind of made a big deal. We had 6 freshmen in our lineup, and some of them are redshirt freshmen, a couple of true freshmen. Cooper Hilton got his first dual appearance of his career. How do you like getting all these freshmen some experience? This is the most freshmen I've seen in our lineup ever.
Yeah, it's a great freshman group. And the thing is, some of our red shirts actually didn't really have a redshirt year because
Yeah.
had some injuries. So like Caden Walters didn't really compete. So for
Same with
him,
Gates, yeah.
yeah, same with Justin Gates. So I think their development this year has been outstanding. It's a big part of it's the work ethic they have, the attitude, the mindset. I really like our this younger group. Just the overall mindset they have about training, about the team, about competition. It's stuff that you build special teams around. So, getting them in these big matches and getting this experience for them, and then just seeing the guys that are already like the starting lineup guys that are young, seeing their trajectory and their improvement throughout the season. I think it's been outstanding, and I think it speaks a lot about the future of the program.
Well, I was going to follow up and ask about that. And obviously, that's not the focus right now, but you're always looking at the future a little bit. So we've got a highly ranked class coming in next year. We've got some guys redshirting this year. What excites you about some of these guys?
Just the way they love to compete
Yeah.
and the success they've already had and how they look at the sport and how they train and how passionate they are about the training, really, mastering wrestling, because that's really what it boils down to. Once they get to college, everything, the trainings, the level of competition, everything's a little more difficult, and you got to really love that part of it to excel. And I feel like this group, they're all in on it, and I'm excited to get not only continue with this current class we have on our roster, but this next class coming
Yeah.
in, and even some of the 2027s we already have. I mean, it's a special group.
All right, shifting to Ohio State, we won 4 matches. Bonus points got away from us a little bit, but we scored some good wins. So, what are your big takeaways from that duel?
We were close. Boiled down to discipline and then response speed in some key positions. And, I think against high level competition, our aggressiveness has to show up earlier in these matches. A couple of really close ones we lost that boiled down to a couple of those specific, discipline and position aggression. And that's something we're going to continue to train and put a lot of time into as we continue to move through this part of the schedule and move into March. But was not a lack of effort. It was really boiled down to some discipline and just situational like response time and aggression. I also we also had a few matches that were highly contested, razor thin margins, where we did a great job staying locked in and staying focused on winning those tough moments to decide those kind of matches. So, we were close. I thought, we did a great job overall. Our effort was great. I think, we got overwhelmed a little bit at a couple of lighter weights, and that can't happen. We have to make more things go our way in those matches to be more competitive. But overall, I thought, it was a solid duel, but discipline and response time to some of these key positions is going to be crucial for us to keep moving forward.
Let's touch on a couple of these big wins. So Brock Mantanona beats Fishback, ranked number 7. A lot of action, but not a lot of points throughout kind of regulation in that
Yeah.
match. Both those guys visibly tired. How do you like seeing Brock kind of power through that?
Brock's growth has been awesome to watch. I see, because we see everything he's doing in the practice room, and we see what it takes to build that, sort of build that resilience, and he's been really pouring into that. I thought it was a great match. I mean, just even, from watching wrestling, those two were really, I mean, there was a lot of great action, some great scrambles. Both guys were putting a lot on the line. And I like it when both guys are wrestling and trying to score points. So I thought that was a really great match. Brock was so close to getting an early score. He fought off some tough scores. That last scramble they had on the edge of the mat, I mean, it was a great scramble. I think they both, at different points, sort of had an advantage in the position, but Brock wrestled harder, longer, with more focus, and that was really the difference. And then just to see him pop up, get back to center, focused, composed, first to the line, ready to go, great body language. It was great to see, because at that point it was under review, so he wasn't sure if he was getting the points or not. So all those little things and the sort of the moments in between the whistles are crucial, and we're always watching those. So I thought it was just great response by Brock.
And then Tay, even kind of bigger win, 4-1 against Feldman, ranked number 3. But he's beaten Feldman a couple times before already. That's probably his best win this season so far. So what went well for him in that match?
I think overall in the match he wrestled, positionally he wrestled well. There were a couple opportunities he missed scoring on from front headlocks early. I think for him, getting his offense going a little earlier is gonna be beneficial for him. Super great athlete, he's super capable of scoring a lot of points. But I also know, he's had, between Vegas and having a knee scoped right after Vegas, and just some of the things, he's really been sort of trying to get himself really stable and consistent with how he feels and how he's competing. And I think he really was focused on making sure he got that big win. And I think he wrestled and competed just a little bit tight. But when it mattered and when everything was on the line, I mean, he was in a really tough position. He stayed so locked in and so focused on just competing hard in the position with urgency. That's what won him the match, and he did an unbelievable job with that. And that's important, and you always take those kind of wins. Now, how you build off that and how you make those matches easier with your positioning, your attack rate, and a little more aggression early in the bout, is sort of like the focus going forward. But great win for Tay. Great focus in a tough environment at the very end of the duel.
Yeah. I want to ask you about Bo, too. So, that's one of those razor-thin losses that we had. Number 5, Karchla, was winning early in the match. Kind of had the tying takedown in his grasp at the end. He's got a couple top 10 wins already this season. He's also got 2 super close losses to, number 4 Minto at Nebraska, and then Karchla. What is kind of maybe the last thing to get him like really over the hump and competing with these top 5 guys?
I think really, Bo's right there. Clearly, he's right there, and he's so capable. His offense is his greatest weapon, and I think just continue to stay aggressive throughout the match, whether you have a 1-point lead or it's a tied match or you're down by 1, like just really competing with the same mentality and position. Positionally, his attack rate when he's there, he's high percentage finisher. So just continue to get to the legs. So if you look at that match, his attack rate was really high in the first period, and then it sort of really slowed in the second period, and then when he got down, his attack rate picked back up. But just the consistency with his positioning, his attack rate, and then again, he was sort of one of the guys that, his response speed to some of the ties he allowed to happen weren't in his favor, and he gave up too much position against a higher competitor like that. So, those are just small adjustments, things we got to continue to train. But Bo is absolutely right there with anybody in the country at that weight.
All right, last question. We're well over 5. But looking ahead to this Friday, we've got number 1 Penn State. Big test. They've got 6 number 1 guys. What do you want to see? What do you want to see out of the Wolverines?
I want to see our guys compete hard from whistle to whistle, and we got to have a higher attack rate. The Penn State's going to come and they're going to wrestle hard, which I think is great, because then when guys are coming at you to wrestle hard, they're also more open to attack and counterattack. So I think for us, we just got to be able to wrestle and compete through every position as hard as we can for 7 minutes. They obviously got a great team, but these are the kind of matches you really look forward to. They're incredible opportunities, and the key is just looking at how I need to wrestle. Where are my strong positions? I got to stay in my strong positions. I got to keep my attack rate high. And watching a lot of film, guys are getting to some of the Penn State guys' legs are scoring. But if you just constantly let them get their attacks off and constantly let them get to your legs, those matches can get long. So, we just got to stay locked in. Great opportunity. It's going to be an exciting environment. I know Chrysler's going to be packed. And I'm really looking forward to Friday night because we're going to learn a lot. We're going to see a lot, and it's a great opportunity.
All right, Sean, thanks. Go Blue.
Go Blue.